In the Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow storyline, reporter Tim Crane visits Lois Lane, now married to Jordan Elliott, to learn why the Superman of the past vanished. Lois explains that during a peaceful era, Superman returned from space to find Metropolis devastated. The cause was Bizarro, a downward-thinking duplicate who killed himself with blue kryptonite after revealing his twisted logic. Meanwhile, Clark Kent left reporting to work as a news anchor with Lana Lang. The villains, Toyman and the Prankster, revealed his Superman identity publicly by attacking live on air and murdering Pete Ross to coerce a confession. Lex Luthor searched an Arctic region for Brainiac's remains, recovered a sentient Brainiac skull, and merged with it. That hybrid attacked Superman's Fortress of Solitude alongside Metallos, using a force field that trapped Superman and his allies. Time-traveling visits occurred. The Legion of Superheroes appeared with Supergirl as a farewell gesture, later replaced by the Legion of Supervillains, who besieged the fortress. Lana used insect-themed pass technology to neutralize the Kryptonite Man. Jimmy Olsen used elastic serum trophies to deactivate the force field. On Luthor's request, Lana killed Luthor Brainiac by snapping his neck. The villains escalated. The Kryptonite Man launched a nuclear bomb. Krypto intercepted that foe, but was fatally irradiated by kryptonite in the process. Superman deduced that Mr. Mxyzptlk, a fifth-dimensional trickster, orchestrated events. The imp revealed his true, monstrous purple form and attacked. Superman used a statuette gift containing a Phantom Zone projector. Facing Mxyzptlk's retreat, Superman forced him to say his name backward, trapping him in the zone. As Mxyzptlk tore apart, Superman activated the projector, killing him, and fulfilled his no-kill oath by entering a gold kryptonite chamber to depower himself. He disappeared into the Arctic. Only Lois, Perry, and Alice emerged alive. Superman's body was never recovered. It was assumed he died powerless, wandering the frozen wastes. Tim Crane leaves. Lois and Jordan feel relief. Their infant son Jonathan compresses coal into a diamond, and Jordan winks, suggesting Superman lives on in their family. The Man of Steel storyline presents a fully revised origin for Superman following the universe-wide reboot of Crisis on Infinite Earths. The story begins on a planet called Krypton, where the scientist Jor-El foresaw an impending global collapse. He sent his unborn son Kal-El in a birthing pod toward Earth to preserve his lineage. Kal-El's pod crashed in the rural town of Smallville, Kansas, where a farming couple, Jonathan and Martha Kent, discovered and adopted him. They named him Clark Kent and raised him as their own, while concealing his cosmic origin. Clark matures with extraordinary strength, speed, and resilience. In adolescence, Jonathan reveals Clark's alien heritage. Clark decides to help humanity and leaves Smallville. His adoptive mother then creates a distinctive suit and emblem so he can act openly while covering his identity. Clark relocates to Metropolis and secures a job as a reporter at a news outlet, where he meets his co-worker Lois Lane, the editor Perry White, and photographer Jimmy Olsen. He becomes known publicly as Superman when he prevents a catastrophic crash of a test flight carrying Lane. Superman confronts a reorganized adversary, Lex Luthor, now portrayed as a corrupt corporate magnate. Luthor first appears under public scrutiny after Superman exposes unethical business activities. The Kent couple survive into Clark's adult life, offering him moral guidance during his early hero years. A major theme emphasizes that Superman was born of Krypton, but truly belongs on Earth. A signature moment occurs when Superman meets Batman, marking their first shared comic book appearance in this reboot continuity. The miniseries also removes earlier elements, such as the existence of a teenage Superboy, superpowered pets, and the old version of his hidden fortress. Krypton is portrayed as an emotionally detached civilization that collapses. Kal-El remains the sole survivor. This arc systematically redefines Superman to root him in human experiences, streamline his mythic elements, and shape his public identity in Metropolis. Superman Exile follows Superman's voluntary departure from Earth due to guilt and mental instability. The crisis begins after Superman learns that an alien invader known as the Wordbringer kidnapped civilians in Trudeau, South Dakota, and used their minds to fuel a cosmic hive mind called the Union. Although Superman stopped the invader, the victims later died, leaving him haunted by their loss. Further distress comes when Superman travels to a pocket universe and discovers 3 Kryptonian murderers responsible for genocide. He acts as judge and executioner and kills them, which resurfaces deep moral conflict. Brainiac's mind intrusion amplifies Superman's guilt, driving him to develop a violent alternate identity called Gangbuster during sleepwalking episodes. Convinced he risks harming others, Superman outfits an oxygen chamber and teleportation device and leaves Earth secretly. In space, he visits lifeless worlds and a welcoming planet, but cannot settle. When he returns to that world hoping for planting roots, the Wordbringer reappears, maintaining captive brains. Superman battles the Wordbringer and its biocomposite Eon. The Union minds reveal that Superman was not responsible responsible for the Earth victims' deaths. They killed themselves. Still tormented, Superman tries escaping on another planet, building a farm that is destroyed by natural disasters. Weak from oxygen depletion and haunted by nightmares of the execution, he is abducted and taken to Warworld, a gladiatorial arena ruled by Mongol. On Warworld, Superman battles enemies but refuses to kill. Mongol captures him for public execution. Superman's presence sparks a revolt against Mongol. An alien cleric who once visited Krypton interfaces with Superman's mind, guides him to confront his guilt, and shows him Kryptonian heritage through the Eradicator device, an artifact dedicated to preserving Krypton. Through this telepathic exchange, Superman acknowledges his inner turmoil and decides to end his exile. He buries the cleric and returns to Earth using the Eradicator. Back in Metropolis, people and allies celebrate his return. Superman must adjust to effects of the Eradicator and confront a Supergirl imposter named Matrix. The Death of Superman crisis opens when a monstrous being named Doomsday emerges from underground near Ohio. Doomsday attacks both wildlife and infrastructure, demonstrating brutal power. The Justice League America confronts him, but are decisively defeated. This prompts the hero Booster Gold to name the creature Doomsday. Superman is alerted and joins the battle. He engages Doomsday across multiple states, including Ohio and Metropolis, using his heat vision, super strength, and flight while rescuing civilians. The fight destroys city blocks, a refinery, and a home in Smallville that houses Jonathan and Martha Kent. After brutal combat, both man and monster land in Metropolis. In Superman Volume 2, number 75, Superman delivers a final blow. Doomsday and Superman collapse, both mortally wounded. Superman dies in Lois's arms. The storyline then shifts to Funeral for a Friend, where Earth's heroes and daily citizens mourn Superman's passing. His impact is emphasized by a memorial in Metropolis attended by colleagues, fellow hero members, and his adoptive father, who suffers a fatal heart attack. Finally, in Reign of the Supermen, 4 individuals appear, each claiming Superman's mantle: a youthful hero named Superboy, Cyborg Superman, a metal-clad protector called Steel, and a mysterious last son of Krypton. During this period, Superman is resurrected off-panel and returns to Earth. The For All Seasons storyline explores key moments in Clark Kent's early journey through the perspective of 4 individuals connected to him. In Spring, narrated by Jonathan Kent, people learn he was found in an alien rocket and raised on a farm in Smallville, Kansas. Clark discovers unusual strength and speed, experiences guilt over a tornado rescue, graduates high school, and reveals his desire to help humanity, prompting his move to Metropolis. In Summer, voiced by Lois Lane, Superman becomes a symbol in Metropolis by stopping a missile and confronting corporate leader Lex Luthor. Lois adjusts her journalistic instincts to understand Superman's purpose and impact. In Fall, told by Lex Luthor, a wealthy businessman who views his rivalry with Superman as a struggle for Metropolis's soul, arrives dramatic tension. Luthor unleashes a chemical virus through scientist Jenny Vaughn, forcing Superman to choose between seeking revenge or finding a cure. Superman cooperates with Luthor to neutralize the virus, but Vaughn dies from her exposure. This failure leads Superman to return to Smallville for reflection. In Winter, narrated by Lana Lang, Clark's childhood friend who hoped for a simpler life with him, Superman responds to a major flood. Clark saves Lana and Jonathan and Martha Kent from danger, refocuses on his heroic mission, and returns to Metropolis under renewed purpose. Each issue carries a seasonal theme that mirrors Clark's transition from farm life to urban hero. The arc emphasizes the shaping influence of adoptive parents, the complexities of moral responsibility, and the challenges of balancing dual identities. It also introduces recurring elements: Clark's shifting relationships with Lois, Lana, and Luthor, the emotional weight he carries, and his evolving sense of duty. The Red Sun storyline presents an alternate history where Superman lands on a Ukrainian collective farm rather than in Kansas, altering global events. The arc begins in the 1950s when Soviet authorities reveal Superman as the champion of the common worker, fighting for Stalin and socialism. Superman saves a Soviet missile test, meets his childhood friend Svetlana, and becomes aligned with communist ideals. Lex Luthor, reimagined as an American scientist, collaborates with a CIA contact to counter Superman. He causes Sputnik 2 to crash over Metropolis, prompting Superman to intervene, and uses genetic traces to clone a counterpart called Superman 2. During the clone's conflict with Superman, the clone sacrifices itself but inadvertently triggers a nuclear incident in London. After Stalin's death by poisoning arranged by Pyotr Roslov, Stalin's illegitimate son and NKVD chief, Superman is drawn deeper into leadership. He eventually assumes political control of the Soviet Union and begins transforming the nation into a superpower that eliminates poverty and disease but suppresses individual freedoms, enforcing loyalty through ideological technological means. Superman forms an alliance with Wonder Woman of Themyscira, who develops a mutual connection but later breaks away after being manipulated by Batman and Lex Luthor. In the United States, Luthor leverages tools such as Brainiac, a reprogrammed alien AI, and support from Green Lantern soldiers led by Hal Jordan to challenge Superman's regime. A climactic battle unfolds when Luthor and the Green Lantern Corps confront Superman's forces on American soil. Superman overpowers them but rejects Brainiac's demand to invade further, choosing not to harm humanity. Lois Luthor, now married to Luthor and working as a journalist, delivers a letter from her husband that reveals the dangerous path Superman has taken and prompts him to reconsider his approach. Ultimately, Superman abandons political control and returns to a civilian identity as Clark Kent, leaving Earth and signaling faith in humanity's ability to govern itself. In a futuristic epilogue set billions of years later, an heir of Luthor, named Jor-El, sends a descendant named Kal-El back in time, reconnecting the legacy of Superman's descendants. The Birthright storyline serves as a retelling of Superman's origin for modern readers. It begins on the planet Krypton, where the scientist Jor-El, foreseeing a planetary destruction, launches his son Kal-El in an infant spacecraft toward Earth. That vessel lands on a farm near Smallville, Kansas, where the farmer Jonathan Kent and his wife Martha Kent find him and name him Clark. They raise him with Midwestern values while keeping his alien heritage secret. As a young adult, Clark develops super strength, flight, and heat vision. He learns Krypton's vibrant history and sees the S-Shield as a symbol of hope derived from an item in his pod. He also gains a power called soul vision, which lets him see life forces in others and shapes his sense of responsibility. Clark travels to Africa as a freelance journalist. There, he covers political unrest, saves civilians during an assassination attempt, and bonds with a survivor named Abena. This cements his plan to serve humanity and adopt a hero identity. Back in Smallville, Clark unearths his spacecraft. Martha helps him fashion a costume from Kryptonian fabric and designs the S-emblem. Jonathan advises him to develop a mild-mannered persona to protect his privacy. Clark moves to Metropolis and joins the Daily Planet. He impresses Lois Lane with his global field reports and shy behavior. He makes his debut as Superman by stopping helicopter-borne terrorism, which traces back to the businessman Lex Luthor. A flashback reveals that Lex grew up in Smallville and was once Clark's friend. Lex's scientific experiments with wormholes destroyed his father and caused his hair loss. Resentful, Lex blames Superman. He engineers a faux Kryptonian invasion using wormhole broadcasts from Krypton's final moments. Superman exposes the hoax by destroying Lex's machines and revealing the link to Krypton, realizing his parents knew he survived. The All-Star Superman arc presents a self-contained story in which Superman becomes fated to die after excessive solar radiation exposure during a rescue mission. Superman begins a series of final missions known as the 12 Labors of Superman. These tasks include restoring the bottled city of Kandor, curing global illnesses, saving Earth from the Star Eater Solaris, and creating a duplicate reality called Earth Q. Each mission is designed to strengthen Earth before his death. Superman's relationships are deeply explored. He shares a closer bond with Lois Lane, revealing his identity and inviting her into his fortress of solitude. His rivalry with Lex Luthor intensifies when Luthor accelerates Superman's condition by misusing solar technology. Superman also encounters Bizarro in a dimensional mirror world and confronts mythic figures such as Hercules and Samson in cosmic contests. The climax sees Superman merge with the sun to cleanse it of a corruptive force, refusing to dominate Earth even as he accepts his end. In his final act, he initiates a legacy plan by combining his genetics with Lois's to create a new Superman lineage, the Superman Squad, tasked with defending Earth in perpetuity. This storyline highlights Superman completing monumental tasks tied to his mythos, deepening his central relationships, embracing mortality with dignity, and planning for the future security of Earth.